Greetings, Zimbabwe. Welcome once more to the program Power Talk. My name is Sean Moyo, your host as usual. On the program today, we host a very familiar guest and a familiar face within the political landscape of Zimbabwe. He is Senator Morgan Komichi, who is the former chairperson of the MDC team. He's also the former, but he is the current president of the MDC Changirai Party. Senator Komichi, welcome to the program.
No, thank you so much. I'm happy to be with you, and I want to greet everyone who's going to be listening to our discussion.
Perfect. And now, Senator, getting straight into it, there was a ruling recently by the High Court that that nullified the MDC 2022 Congress, meaning that it's now in void. So where do you stand on that matter, and does that mean you and others who had left the party like Senator Mudzuri have been restored to the party?
Thank you so much for raising such a vital question. But before I really give the answer to your question, I want to allude that the opposition movement in Zimbabwe is almost dead, if not really dead. The opposition movement for the last 7 years has been affected by confusion, such that at the end of the day, the people of Zimbabwe are at a loss. They are disillusioned. They don't know what to do. They are losing hope. They are like sheep in the wilderness because there's no leadership, there's no direction. And at the end of the day, the general public are the victims of this confusion that you see today. Immediately after the death of Morgan Komichi, MDC was again implicated in a court battle. What was the challenge? The challenge was some certain leaders within the opposition did not want to respect the party constitution, the MDC constitution. Today again we are faced with the same challenge, same situation, in which the leadership again has failed to respect the party constitution. The current leadership, which has failed to respect the party constitution, is the same leadership which took the initial leadership to court because of failure to respect the MDC constitution. So there is a repetition of failure to respect the constitution by the opposition leaders. So one can easily conclude that what has caused the demise of the opposition movement in Zimbabwe is actually the failure to respect the party constitution. One can conclude that if the party constitution was respected, MDC party would have been still together, could have been still housed at the Harvest House, which is the shrine of the opposition movement. And the opposition movement could have been very strong right now. So one can conclude that to resolve the opposition movement challenges in Zimbabwe, the leadership should just respect the party constitution. Let me now come to the question of the recent High Court ruling against Douglas Mwonzora and his leadership. What the High Court ruled was exactly what some members of the MDC leadership were saying. As we were preparing for the then Congress, these challenges were raised in various meetings. Don't do this. Let us not do that. Let us respect our party constitution. Throughout the whole process, at no stage was the constitution ever respected. From the formation of the structures in preparation for the Congress, nothing was done. In the process of nomination of the candidates, a new system was introduced that was completely unconstitutional. There was no voters' roll. The delegates that attended the Congress on that particular day were just people that were picked from various parts of Harare and a few outside Harare. Some certain constitutional congresses were not done. For example, the Women's Congress was not done. There was no excuse. The Youth Congress was not done. These two congresses form the major element of the main Congress. No resolution was made at the Congress. It was just haphazard. I can say this with confidence because I was there. I did not boycott because I wanted to see the challenges. I wanted to see some leadership failures so that in future I will not do the same. So definitely the High Court judgment is, we can say people can want to appeal against it, but it represents the truth of what really happened. So we as MDC Tsvangirai leadership, we welcome the High Court judgment. We would like to honor it, respect it, we would like it fulfilled. Because to me, it is the opportunity for the MDC leadership to now come together, to now congregate, to revive the opposition movement, which is so dilapidated. In my view, many people left the MDC and went into various groupings. Right now, it is my wish that wherever you went, come back home. I can tell you right now, the people that follow Senator Komichi are MDC. People that follow Senator Mudzuri are MDC. People that follow Senator Mwonzora are MDC. People that follow Advocate Chamisa are MDC. People that follow Professor Washmingwe are MDC. People that follow Advocate Ndabiti are MDC. We have the same DNA. We are born out of the same parents. We should come together and embrace this judgment.
So in short, does it mean then that the MDC Tsvangirai is formed and you are melting back into the MDC?
We are going to be like any other grouping. As I've already alluded, that those people who are in CCC, that's a temporal name. Their real name is MDC. The people that are in PDP, that's a temporal name. Their real name is MDC. The people that are MDC renewal are MDC. For the good of opposition and in the best interest of the Zimbabwean people, I appeal to all the leaders of those groupings to come down, congregate, make the way forward. It is not of any advantage for a small grouping to pursue its own agenda, which is personal. Yet we are sacrificing the main agenda. We are sacrificing the people's interest, which is to fight for real change, which is to represent the people who have suffered so much under the NPF government. We are missing the opportunity. To me, the High Court judgment is the golden opportunity which must be embraced by all reasonable opposition leaders and their supporters. Right now, there's no need for us to pronounce or to amplify hatred. Yes, we want fighting, but that has cost us. It has cost the people of Zimbabwe. We must be conscious in our minds that we are not here for our own personal interest. We are here as leaders to represent the masses of Zimbabwe, the youth of Zimbabwe, the women of Zimbabwe, the men of Zimbabwe who have suffered under this economic crisis. There is no one in Zimbabwe today who is holding Zanu PF accountable. They are doing whatever they want. They are sacrificing the people's lives. They don't care about the state of the economy. They don't care about the state of corruption in Zimbabwe. In Zimbabwe, there's grand corruption. As I stated before, out of 185 countries, Zimbabwe ranks on number 159 worldwide. That's extremely bad. As I stated before, the mental health conditions in Zimbabwe is so bad. More than 40% of the Zimbabweans have got mental illness. Assessment has proved that this is due to economic pressures. The young people have no employment. So they are resorting to drug abuse. Check out the record in Zimbabwe today in Harare. How many mothers have been killed by their own sons due to drug and substance abuse? It's terrible.
Let's look back to the issue of the failure of leadership that you related us in it. You were part of the leadership, and you've been in opposition or in the MDC since its formation, right? So that failure of leadership you refer to, does it not also apply to you as you were part of leadership as well? Is it particularly one individual that you can point to, or it's supposed to be collectively your responsibility as leaders?
I don't want to completely excuse myself, because I am and I was a part of leadership. Whatever I did not produce the required results. So I would also be painted by the same brush.
Right.
Because I was there. But I am providing the solution in which I am saying, and people must appreciate it. For an example, in MDC constitution stipulates clearly the role of the president is a vision developer, is a vision career, is a goal setter and objective setter, is the protector of the constitution of the party. The vision of the president carries the day. Analogically, it is like when a train decides to go to Blawa or a train decides to go to Mtari, the head takes charge. All the coaches will follow. Because the moment you start to fight the vision of the president, you are labeled a rebel by the supporters. And you will see it. You will not live. You will not enjoy. That's why you've seen as we moved along, people will leave here. Because they will leave, they left after having advised and no one followed. In the situation of prior to the judgment, Comrade Mudzuri left. I also left in 2023. After having tried to advise that as MDC party, we are losing popularity in the country. We are being called Zanu PF Lite. What is that we are doing which is causing us to be labeled sellouts? It's because we are acting in a manner which is against the people's expectations as opposition party. Some of us we left. That is why today we've got a grouping of people who are advocating for real politics, for real opposition. We want to rebuild the opposition movement, unite the people of the opposition family, confront ZANU-PF head on. Look the beast in the eye and challenge it. And question why ZANU-PF is doing this. Question why Mnangagwa is doing that. That's why we're here today. We are questioning him. We are providing leadership. We are showing by example that opposition politics is not about kissing ZANU-PF, hugging ZANU-PF, or dining ZANU-PF. It is to hold ZANU-PF and its government accountable to make sure that they provide service to the people of Zimbabwe. So you can simply say people have got to agree on the vision. People have got to agree on the way forward. So whatever we're talking about right now today, if we assemble again and we don't correct the mistakes that we came across, we'll be wasting our time. We must agree on where we went wrong, and we must agree on the way forward.
Right. Speaking on that issue of unity and coming back together again with your colleagues, seeing as you're leading the MDC Shanghai, Senator Mwonzora is leading the MDC, Nelson Chamisa is leading the Triple C, and now he's looking forward to forming a new party, and we have several other formations that came from the MDC. Now, since everyone has been or is a leader of their own party, and we know politicians have got egos, do you think it's really possible for you to come back together and all of you humble yourselves and be able to be led by one person? Can that even be possible?
We have no choice. If we are normal people, we have no choice if we are telling the world the truth that we want to bring change in Zimbabwe. We have no choice. Any leader who is genuinely in opposition politics should have the conscience to accept the call for unity. We cannot all be leaders of the opposition movement if we are serious. As I alluded a few days ago, that the opposition which fails to unite will never win election in Zimbabwe, no matter what you do. Because it has been proven that the difference between the opposition people and the ruling party is not very huge. And the ruling party maintains its constant figure. Let me hypothetically say 2 million people. It maintains that. The opposition could be having a figure of 2.5 or 2.6 million. But because the opposition is fragmented, proportionally, they would divide into 2.6. As we have already experienced for the last elections, more than 15 opposition leaders would be there on the ballot paper. We are all fishing from the same pot of the opposition fraternity. So, resultantly, we have got an effect of reduction on our opposition supporters, such that one person will get 1.5 million, another person will get 200,000, one guy will get 50,000, 20,000, 2,000. If we add these small figures to the main figure, we'll find that could be more than 2 million. And our chances of defeating ZANU-PF will be very high. We had a scenario like this in 2008, where we had a Save Zimbabwe campaign, and our result outcome was very good.
But someone can argue, Senator, that we live in a multi-party democracy, and you as a Democrat, and you've been in this democracy struggle for a long time, you should be able to believe in plurality and multi-parties in such that the people can really choose just one particular party or individual that they want if they feel like is the person or the party that can carry their hopes. Not that the entire opposition vote. The opposition is supposed to unite for the sake of owning the entire opposition vote, or people are supposed to be allowed to choose from the multiplicity of the parties that can be put on the ballot?
It is very unfortunate that sometimes people are or confused between multi-party democracy and strategy. What I'm talking about is a strategy. It does not necessarily affect the multi-party democracy concept. But the reality is that if you're a normal human being, you usually see that between leaders A, B, C, D, probably comrade D is followed by 2 million people. If you are really for the people of Zimbabwe, you must add your 50 people on top of 2 million. Your chances of getting the presidential vote is not there. But your 50 votes are very fundamental in the sense that our electoral system is 50% plus 1 vote. So the 50 people that are following you could actually add on 50% plus 1 vote. And the people of Zimbabwe would benefit. It's not about me. I might be in a game in future. That person who was having the 50 votes could actually be followed by 2 million votes. It would be wiser for the person with the 2 million votes to call those small votes to come and vote on him.
But looking at I would say the toxicity that we have seen within the opposition, whereby I would say members of your party, because basically it's the MDC.
Yes, of course.
It's Goods, right?
Yes, I agree.
The amount of hate that you see online and also even physically is very serious, to put it lightly. So with that amount of toxicity, whereby once you break apart, Komichi supporters tend to view the other colleagues or ex-fellow colleagues as basically enemies, and they insult each other and vice versa. What are the chances of you actually really winning this idea of coming together back with your colleagues? Like, is it even plausible or possible?
I have been a victim of that toxicity.
Right.
But I have made a decision. I will not be affected by that toxicity. Because the vision that I have is to serve the people of Zimbabwe. That's the vision I have. So I will not be disturbed by the noise. The toxicity to me is just a noise. The signal that I have is very clear. But I want to come back to the definition of unity. Unity is not an abstract. Unity is a practical subject. And when you talk about unity, you are referring to two people or a group of people who were once friends, and because of a conflict that then arose, hated each other so much to the point that one would wish if one is dead. At family level, it is the divorce case. You would imagine that the husband and the wife actually had children together. That's a conflict. In politics, actually, there could be actually a physical war.
We saw it must be in Glenview recently, where there was a funeral of a Triple C legislator.
Yes, of course.
They passed away.
Yes, of course.
And there was gross violence.
Yes.
And there was no Zanu inside. It was just the Triple C and the MDC. And some people were injured critically.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm asking if in that kind of environment whereby the leaders are calling for unity and coming together at the same time, they call each other names.
That's why I'm coming.
Like you do with me now, Mwonzora, Mudzuri, you all throw big bets, but at the same time, in basically the same sentence, you're calling for unity again. How do you reconcile?
That's where I'm going. I want to give you a practical example. In the 1970s, there was a war in Zimbabwe of the liberation war, Zanu against the regime Frank. These men and women killed each other. History tells us that a lot of people were killed in Chimoyo, in Zonya, Tembwe, Zambia, Tanzania, here in Zimbabwe. But in 1979, leaders sat down and agreed on the unit accord. Immediately after Zimbabwe got its independence, we had the Gugula issue, where 20,000 people were murdered in Matabeleland. But in 1987, ZAP and Zanu signed a unit accord. In 2006, 2007, 2009, MDC supporters were murdered, they were raped, homes were burnt all over Zimbabwe by Mugabe's people and Mugabe himself. But in 2009, a GPA was signed in Zimbabwe and a government unity was established. And with the positive, we enjoyed our lives. This is an extreme example that I can give. So at the moment, we are not yet there. If I meet Shamisa today, I will say, my young brother, how are you? If I meet Advocate B today, I will say, my brother, how are you? And we actually talk and exchange always. We meet in some public places. And we have not reached a point where we really can say we cannot manage this situation. If we are genuine leaders, if Wanamu Shangirai and Mugabe did it, why can't we do it? If Wanamu Mugabe and Ian Douglas Smith did it, why can't we do it? We've not reached the point where we say there's nothing. Conflicts are always resolved, but they are resolved by people who want to resolve the conflict. So right now, with what has happened for the last 7 years, every leader, wherever you are, be ashamed. We have failed. We have failed to copy what President Tsvangirai did. President Tsvangirai managed to run the opposition movement for 18 years, with Zanu being there, with the CIOs being there, with the MID being there, with the police being there. But he led the opposition for 18 years unshakably. Right now, what has gone bad with us? What's wrong with us? That within 7 years of period, we cannot be able to point where opposition movement is today. We cannot be able to point where the opposition leader is today. We cannot be able to point where opposition activists are there. So what has gone wrong? So we must ask ourselves. And if we ask ourselves, let us regroup, let us come together, let us take advantage of the High Court judgment. The High Court judgment is the golden opportunity in which the opposition leaders should come together and forget about personal egos and personal interest and put forward on the table the national interest, the people's interest. We can do this. We did it before. We can do this. So I appeal to the leadership of Zimbabwe and the people that support us. Please, the people that support us, withdraw from toxicity. And the leadership who are leading these factions withdraw from toxicity. We can only have one president. Let us regroup and agree on that one president so that we support that one president. Our chances are very high, 2028, I can assure you.
Let's talk about this High Court judgment once more, Senator. It nullified the 2022 Congress. So, for a start, you were the chairperson of the party leading the Congress, and also you were the leader who was organizing the elections.
The chairman, yes.
The chairperson, yes. And so, even in the lawsuit, you were one of the respondents.
Yes, I was
you were being sued, in other words, with the party as well as the president. So, you not accepting the results of that Congress and actually agreeing with the court ruling that it was illegal or it was unconstitutional, yet you were an integral part of running it. Basically, it was under you, the election, that is. How do you reconcile that part once more for the people as well?
Actually, I have no problem with the High Court ruling. I welcome it, I accept the judgment. I would want that judgment to be respected and implemented. We must use that judgment as an opportunity for us to unite. I'm not going to be the part of the people that are going to appeal. I'm actually going to be the part of the people that will put an affidavit against the appeal, because I don't want to waste people's time. I want to embrace the judgment. The judgment actually nullified the 2022 Congress and everything that subsequent to that. People are confusing the EOC's life and the other Congress life. The EOC's life started in 2020, December, and went on for 2 years. Constitutionally, before you go to the next Congress, you all resign from the positions that we're holding.
From the president right down.
Everyone. Anyone who is, whether you wanted to contest or didn't want to contest, automatically your position is nullified. The term is expired. You cannot revive it whatsoever. There is no way in the Constitution where it will give you the powers to revive an expired term. So, on the very day when the Congress was held in Harare, the president who came from the EOC and everyone along with him, their term ended there. Dead. In terms of mathematics, we can put a 0 plus a 1. The 1 becomes the order at Congress. Right. Now the judge nullified the order at Congress, so the judge also put a 0. So the equation now is 0 plus 0. In DC has no leadership. That's the mathematical equation. The party has no leadership as we speak right now. Right. But we have to go back to our processes. What is the constitutional right today is what is now part of the law. The Supreme Court judgment of 2019. Supreme judgment 2020. March 2020, 31 March 2020. Became the law. And the High Court judgment did not nullify that law. And the High Court judgment cannot nullify that law because of its superiority as the Supreme judgment. So we go there and say, legally, what did the Supreme judgment say in as far as MDC was concerned? The Supreme judgment reinstated Madame Cooper as the acting president and mentioned clearly that the national chairperson of the MDC, Morgan Komichi, became the second authority. That is in a disputed part of our processes. That is where we are today as MDC. So, in that particular Supreme judgment, Douglas Mwonzora is the Secretary General. In that judgment, so that I can remove the confusion among the people, the judgment nullified the position of Nelson Chamisa as a VP, of Senator Mudzuri as the Vice President. If we were to be constitutional, respect the rule of law, that's the reality. So, the fact that we are saying everyone should come wherever you're going, but we are saying whether you're going to Triple C, you're going to PDP, you are an MDC cadre, come. Which means today, Madame Coupe can still come today and lead us as the acting president, if she wishes, to revive the opposition movement. No one will challenge it.
But now seeing as Madame Coupe is long moved on, she's in parliament right now, she's a senator for the Triple C. So essentially, it leaves the party with no leader besides the chairperson.
Yes, of course. Yes, of course.
And the SG, yes, to that strategy.
We are there. Right. The chairman is there. The SG is there. Other leaders are also there. So from that basis, we can now come together and be able to say, ladies and gentlemen, we have learned lessons here and there. Let us not prepare a Congress that will never be challenged in the course of law. Let us prepare a Congress in which if you challenge us in the course of law, you will automatically lose. Because we have done it properly. However, I'm not being selfish. I am saying let us form a caretaker committee, which is going to be represented by groups of people from interested parties, so that we together prepare for the elections and be able to meet the deadline of 6 months. We can do it. The High Court order overrides our political party constitution. So we can change everything that is in the constitution to suit the period prescribed by the High Court order. We can do that.
But looking at the High Court order, I read it. I'm not too sure I would have come across the 6 months specification. Maybe you want to elaborate on where it arises from.
The prayer that was given by the applicants, if you read in the Constitution, the first page, the first paragraph actually. In the first paragraph, the applicant actually prayed that we need to redo the Congress that must be done within 6 months. That is
so
what is stated.
Once the ruling is given, it automatically also then covers
the ruling embraces the prayer of the applicant. So some people would want to just dodge and say, read the verdict of the final verdict of the judge was derived from the prayer of the applicant.
Right, that makes sense. Okay, let's address once more the topic that you've been very passionate about, the topic of the 2030 agenda. Once more again, I would like to reiterate that as a media house, we want to ask that we may be allowed to allow the senator to say what he says, and hopefully to be within the legal bounds looking at the current situation.
I'm actually disappointed that the current regime has inflicted fear among the journalists in the media house. That is very undemocratic. That is a total violation of our national constitution. And that is very, 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 very unacceptable. The president should really act quickly on this one. Withdraw all the fears that is inflicted in the journalists in fraternity and promote democracy, the rights of expression and freedom, the rights to associate and communicate, the right of the conscience. We need this freedom of conscience to be established among the people of Zimbabwe. We are like in a terrorist state. We are like in a country where there's no constitution. We are like in a country that has not been in a democratic fight for the last 46 years. That's pathetic. Section 61, 62 of our constitution. It's very clear on the rights of the journalists and the rights of the freedom of the media houses. So as we speak right now, as MDC Tsvangirai, we demand for that freedom. We demand that people should be able to express whatever they want to the state against the president. Is our constitutional right. So let me take this opportunity to reiterate the MDC Tsvangirai's position as far as the 2030 agenda. We don't support it. We don't want to hear about it. We will oppose it. We will campaign against it. We will mobilize the people of Zimbabwe against it. We would even go to an extent of mobilizing peaceful demonstrations against it. As MDC Tsvangirai, we will lead by example. We will lead from the front. We are not going to be afraid of anything that comes against us. We want President Mnangagwa to abandon that agenda, to stick to the two-term provisions. He can lead this country to 2028, but no day, no minute beyond that. If he does that, it will be a violation of the constitution, and we won't support it.
But in defense of the president, let me play devil's advocate here, Senator. He has pronounced himself that he is not willing to go beyond his term limit. So he has said on several occasions that he is a constitutionalist and he is not going to go beyond it. So to him, it's not really an issue. So what do you have to say about that? Is it not enough that he has declared his interest not to carry on?
It's not enough. 2 days ago, or 1 day ago, Zanu sat down and disciplined some members of his own party to an extent of even expelling them yesterday because they went against the party values and principles and as far as they were concerned. We have the Minister of Local Government, Comrade Garo, who, after the president has announced and described himself as a constitutionalist, going to be expelled by the party. Has he not put the party into disrepute? Has he not created confusion in the country? Is he not going to be the source of a conflict or a civil battle, civil war in this country? Comrade Garwe is going against the president's message. So if the president is genuine about what he's saying about constitutionalism, he should immediately expel Comrade Garwe from all positions of the government in the party. So I don't trust what President Mnangagwa said because of what is happening on the ground. I don't trust it. I know Zanu-PF for its principle of Tamboga Chenjera. The Tamboga Chenjera came as far as the whole time. What it meant is you must play, you must indicate you are turning right when you are turning left. That's the principle of Tamboga Chenjera. And so Mnangagwa should do more on that issue so as we can believe him. We want to see those people who are pushing for the 2030 Harare be expelled by the party. As long as those people are still being entertained by Comrade Mnangagwa, I can safely say, President Amstora Chokwadi, we want the confidence, we want him to show to us that he's not going to push up to 2030. And anyway, the 2030 become the source of conflict in Zimbabwe. The 2030 has become a source of, we need to focus on the economy. Right now, we're wasting time talking about the 2030, which is causing conflict in Zimbabwe. We are being being redirected to do other things that are not very advantageous for the people of Zimbabwe. So we don't want it. The president must put a stop on it.
As we close, Senator, I would want you to give 2 words. Number 1 to your colleagues in the opposition, and then number 2 to the people of Zimbabwe.
Thank you so much. My call to the people of Zimbabwe, the opposition fraternity. Ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, we are so fragmented such that ZANU-PF actually smiles because of our confusion, our divisions. ZANU-PF gave the confidence of doing whatever they are doing today because of our separation, because of our fights, because of our unreasonable hatred. Let us be men enough and women enough to accept what we did and embrace each other so that we can focus and rebuild a strong and formidable opposition movement. Let's start by agreeing to form what I term the mass democratic movement. People might want to know, who will then lead the mass democratic movement? It will be rotationally led. We will rotate the leadership until we come to a position where we would then choose one leader to represent that at an election. Remember when we had NERA during Morgan Komichi's time, it was chaired by different leaders. I remember Mudzuri chaired it, Mwonzora chaired it, other opposition leaders also chaired it. So it's a practical solution that actually has got precedence and we can do it today. So we will agree on everything that we do. The common leader will come out of our agreement. We will discuss and agree. Ladies and gentlemen, we are wasting time. 2028 is by the corner. Let us reassemble. Let us come together and push for this massive democratic movement. That is my plea and my appeal to the opposition fraternity. It will be also a solution for us to represent the people of Zimbabwe. The people of Zimbabwe are currently disillusioned. They've lost hope in us. The people of Zimbabwe have no trust in our words, our character and body language. They look at us as matsotsi. They look at us as people who are egocentric. They look at us as people who want to make money for themselves. People who don't care about the fate of the people of Zimbabwe. So the people of Zimbabwe want to see us united. The people of Zimbabwe want us to see us organized. The people of Zimbabwe have suffered enough. The economic crisis in Zimbabwe is beyond reach. People are suffering. And we need to correct the situation together. So the opposition fraternity and the people of Zimbabwe must come together and be one. Let us be ashamed as opposition leadership that we can preside over a nation in which the opposition is so fragmented. However, I want to assure the people of Zimbabwe, I will try my best to push for the unity of the opposition movement. I need your support to amplify the call for unity. Because if I just continue to call for unity alone, I'll appear a fool. It will work out if you people of Zimbabwe, wherever you are, you would second and support my appeal to the people, to the leadership of Zimbabwe, of the opposition movement. Surely we cannot just sit. We must unite and resolve the problems that have affected the people of Zimbabwe.
Thank you so much, Senator Komichi, and thank you, Zimbabwe, for watching. Please stay tuned.